Welcome into the show, everybody. For the live audience, thank you for your patience. Most humbly, I sincerely appreciate it. Yes, a little bit of a personal matter. Nothing serious. As I said, it was no big deal. It was, I'll be straight up honest with you guys. I had a repairman come to the house, and in no way, shape, or form did I actually think they'd show up before 7 a.m. They said they'd show up between 6 and 10 a.m. I'm like, I've never had a repairman at the house at 6 a.m. Sure enough, at 5:58, this gentleman shows up. Great guy, and if you work from home, which of course I do, I don't like leaving my wife and my kids alone in the house, basically, while I'm doing the podcast and can't hear anything going on in the home. And you know, if you're a father, you want to make sure everything's taken care of. Guy's great. He was awesome. Took care of what he needed to take care of in the house. I give a lot of credit because a lot of times people will just quit. They'll just give up. They'll say, oh, this project is too hard. For instance, the previous owners of the house didn't really take care of the refrigerator. I know this is amazing stuff to start your day with. But basically this guy, the previous owners of the house fiddled with this ice maker in the refrigerator, in the freezer. This guy did everything, including get creative, basically turned into MacGyver to fix my ice maker. And now the ice maker's fixed in my home. So that's why we had to push it back. Not because necessarily the ice maker, but because I didn't want to just be sitting at my desk talking sports with you guys when, you know, what else could be going on. So I think a lot of guys don't like leaving their family alone with someone they don't know. So I figured best to tend to the situation myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. So I apologize for having to push the show back for the live audience, and hopefully for the people that consume the content later in the day, you're getting that content right now. So welcome in. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show. It's presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. 76ers get a huge win last night, and I am now coming to grips with the idea of the Philadelphia Eagles not playing for 2 weeks. We don't get to watch them this Sunday. We don't get to watch them next Sunday. We get to watch them on Monday Night Football. So they get the bye week and a day. Very much looking forward to that. But now I'm coming to terms with missing this team because, as I have been saying, and I said this a couple of weeks ago when the Eagles were 6-1, I said, we do have to enjoy what we're watching. And I do enjoy. And whenever we talk about the Eagles now being 8-1 and how great the Eagles have been with Jalen Hurts healthy and Nick Sirianni as the head coach, those two forces combined have led to some great things. 2 losses. 3 if you include the Super Bowl. But other than that, things have been pretty damn good. But when you look at this team and you enjoy the moment, 8-1, there are still things that we measure them against. And this is where I get into the speech about, oh, yes, they're 8-1, and that's great, but we're not measuring them against the fact that they're 8-1 in the regular season. We're measuring them against the bar that they have already set, which is being a Super Bowl contender. But that doesn't mean that I don't stop for a second and I smell the roses. We can do that. As a fan base, we can do that. We don't like it when the team does it. For instance, if you talk about a loss, you hear from Jalen Hurts all the time. Not that he loses all the time, but in the event of a loss happening, you flush it. Move on from it as quick as possible. When you win, you enjoy the win for a couple of hours, and then it's on to the following week. And in the Eagles' case, it's on to after the bye week. They can kick their feet up for a little bit. Jalen Hurts hopefully can get as healthy as possible. Cam Jurgens can get as healthy as possible, and they come back ready to go for a primetime matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch. But I do look around. I do smell the roses. And I think about growing up, just enjoying the Randall Cunningham era, getting exposed to football with Randall Cunningham being my first Eagles quarterback. In my lifetime, it was Ron Jaworski. But the guy I really remember was Randall Cunningham, and watching that guy and watching the Eagles play and all that. And then thinking about the carousel of quarterbacks after Randall Cunningham and the carousel of quarterbacks following that. And then Donovan coming in, and then a little bit of a carousel after that. And now Jalen Hurts has steadied the ship. And when that happens, and you go to the Super Bowl victory, obviously I don't want to gloss over that, but just talking about the rotation you can have, and how sometimes you could be one of those teams that are just stuck in NFL purgatory and just never seem to get things right. The Eagles are far from that. And hell, you could be like the Cowboys. Think about that for a second. Would you want to be the Cowboys? I wouldn't want to be the Cowboys. The way that they've played in recent years, and in the last 25 years, when you think about it, no thank you. So I will enjoy the hell out of the 70. I will enjoy the hell out of where the Eagles are right now at 8-1. And by the way, if you are watching the show, yes, I am wearing a T-shirt. I never wear a T-shirt. I usually just wear the button down. But here you are. I'm in a t-shirt. My red striped t-shirt. Can't see it. There it is. I think this was $9 at Target, maybe like 10 years ago, and it's still holding up pretty nice, if I do say so myself. So we'll get into the Eagles today. Obviously, we'll get into Nick Sirianni's comments because the Philadelphia Eagles, with their amazing offensive line, are a middle-of-the-road run team. There are 16 teams in front of them with a better yards per attempt number in the NFL. The Eagles average 4 yards per attempt. Now, you can say that factors in all the 1-yard runs and 2-yard runs and 6-inch runs that they have with the tush push, if you will. But when you have DeAndre Swift, who is the 4th leading rusher in the league, you would assume that the yards per attempt would be a little bit higher for the Philadelphia Eagles. But unfortunately, it is not. You could go back to Cam Jurgens, and Cam Jurgens, unfortunately, has had a bad impact on that run game by him missing time. That's why I'm so much looking forward to him returning after the bye week from his injury. Now you have Dallas Goedert out, which greatly impacts the run game. And I always go back to this with Dallas Goedert. We got into this yesterday at Fox 29 about, this should help the Eagles. This should help the Eagles run game because they're going to trust with one less weapon out there in Dallas Goedert, you're going to be going to the run a little bit more often. I do not agree with that even a little bit because Dallas Goedert has been such a great run blocker for this offense that I always go back to Jason Kelsey's quote after the Eagles lost to the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta the year following their Super Bowl victory. If you remember this game, a whole slew of Eagles went down after pregame warmups. People were saying, the parametric pressure because they all of a sudden opened the dome. It affected a lot of guys' hamstrings and soft tissue injuries galore. And look, that might be true. I don't know. But all I know is Dallas Goedert was one of the guys that couldn't play in that game. And when he couldn't play in that game, Jason Kelsey said after the game they had to throw out half their run plays because Dallas Goedert wasn't there to run block. That's how good of a blocker he is in their running game. Maybe that's just with Doug Peterson. I doubt it. They're still blocking similar ways with Nick Sirianni. But I don't think that this run game is going to be helped at all by Dallas Goedert not being here. Side note on the Dallas Goedert situation, as I said yesterday, the best case scenario is 4 weeks. It came out already that the Eagles are looking at that situation right now as if he is only going to miss 4 weeks. That would be incredible. The fact that they can do the surgery so quickly, I believe he's having it today. The fact that they're going to have the surgery so quickly leads me to believe, and others to speculate as well, that it's a clean break. It's not a shatter. It's a clean break. Patch that up. Put the welding mask on. Whatever the hell they do. I'm kidding. And they put that back together, and then 4 weeks, hey, take the Band-Aid off. You're ready to go. I'll greatly miss Dallas Goedert. I think the Eagles' run game and offensive line are going to miss him too. Now, back to that run game. 4 yards per carry is what the Eagles are averaging right now. You can weigh in all the factors, whether it's the runs they have with the short runs, quote unquote, with the tush push. You could bring in the idea that Cam Jurgens hasn't been a part of here, but still, this Eagles offensive line is still graded as one of the best offensive lines, top 3 offensive lines in all football. You would think the run game would be a little bit more potent with an offensive line like that. It hasn't been the case. They have given the running backs opportunities. DeAndre Swift, Kenny Gainwell, as we all know. Hell, Rashad Penny got a couple of carries, but I thought Rashad Perry's situation in this game against the Cowboys in the third quarter, coming out, breaking off a 6-yard run, and then breaking off another 2-yard run, and then never seeing him again. I felt that was interesting. Why would you abandon that? Even if the other four plays you ended up running on that drive set you up for a 29-yard touchdown score to Devontae Smith in the corner of the end zone. Why wouldn't you see Rashad Penny later? Why wouldn't you see Rashad Penny when you were backed up at your own 1-yard line after the first of 2 different times that the Cowboys failed to come up big in that red zone? That is confusing to moi. So yesterday, Nick Sirianni was asked about it, and we're going to let you hear what he had to say because it's a 2-minute answer from Nick Sirianni as to why this Eagles team has struggled in the run game. From what it sounds like, all is well and good. Well, let's hear from Nick Sirianni coming up in a second. I do want to also say Sixers got the big win last night. And when I say big win, I mean 48 points from Joel Embiid. A big win over the Wizards is not a big win, but the way they played was pretty big. Tyrese Maxey had 22 points, hit 3 threes, was 3 for 9 from beyond the arc. I don't think you really talk much about a statement game, but If you want to be clicking on all cylinders, offensively speaking, that was one hell of a clicking on all cylinders, offensively speaking, before they take on the Boston Celtics tomorrow night. I'm going to let you know right now, out of the gate. Be ready, ladies and gentlemen. I might be doing a little Sixers post-game show after Sixers Celtics tomorrow night. Big measuring stick game in the early goings of the season. Sixers coming to that game at 5-1 now after winning their 5th straight game. The Boston Celtics come into that game tomorrow night at 5-1 as well. Today's about appreciation. And for me, I think about the appreciation I have for the Sixers at being at 5-1, the Sixers being in now this post-James Harden era, and the appreciation of the Philadelphia Eagles being at 8-1 on the season, beating the Cowboys, going into the bye week. It really is all I dreamed of. I thought it was going to be a close game no matter what. I thought it was going to be a close game no matter what. I thought it was going to be a 33-30 Eagles victory. It turned out to be a little bit more low scoring than that. But I wanted to have the opportunity to enjoy the bye and look back on all the things the Eagles have done. Tomorrow, I'm going to put a list together of all the things I have seen from the Eagles this year that just give me the biggest amount of hope that they are going to go on and at least make it to another Super Bowl. And the things that I have enjoyed so far to this point this season, and some of the biggest surprises that have jumped out to me so far this season. We'll get into that conversation tomorrow. But as for right now, it's just all about looking around and seeing where we're at in the Philadelphia sports scene. The Phillies are involved in this as well. When you talk about Aaron Nola getting a qualifying offer extended to him, while Rhys Hoskins did not get a qualifying, Michael Lorenzen did not get a qualifying offer extended his way. Craig Kimbrell, I believe, was the other name that did not get a qualifying offer extended his way. It does not mean that the door has been slammed shut. Negotiations can still happen here. Negotiations will happen here with Aaron Nola, but as Rhys Hoskins goes, this is just a step in the free agency direction. He'll test the market, most likely come back to Philadelphia with what do you got? They'll say, well, okay, fine, let's party. And then maybe say, not so much. Now, there is a theory that goes along with this, with the Phillies, about Bryce Harper. And Bryce Harper staying around Philadelphia in the offseason. Is he having meetings with Dave Dombrowski? Is he having meetings with the Phillies front office about the future? Because I wouldn't put it past him. Another theory is he just wants to, kids are in daycare or whatever. Maybe they just enjoy being in daycare. I would doubt that. I don't know. That's a dip into his personal life that I don't even want to throw darts at and say, oh, well, maybe this is it. Maybe that's it. But I do think it's interesting that he's still around. I do think it's interesting that he's still around Philadelphia, not back in Vegas. I would opt for Las Vegas, not just because it's home, technically, if you're Bryce Harper, but Philadelphia winters aren't exactly a party. And as much as he might want to go to Eagles games, I mean, he could go to the Eagles Kansas City game, short flight from Vegas. You know what I mean? He could, what else? They got Seattle, short flight from Vegas. You know what I mean? Get some other Eagles games that you could go to, right? Find it interesting that he's still around. Maybe it's talk to front office. You could do it over Zoom. Maybe he just likes to be in person. I don't know. That's speculation as well. That's speculation as well. Let's get back to the Eagles. I don't like how the Eagles are using their running backs. And Nick Sirianni, to his credit, actually it's the first time anyone ever made a good point in the passing the ball is like running the ball. Short passes are an extension of the run game. And I remember going back to Andy Reid. He was one of the first people I remember really talking about it like that, saying the screen game was an extension of the run. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not a run. You're still depending on your quarterback to do something. You're depending on the quarterback in a lot of the screen games, especially in the Andy Reid era, to suck in that defensive line, get the full rush in your face, risk getting hit, and then throw the ball downfield or throw the ball upfield a couple of yards to Brian Westbrook in this case in the flat. I'm not a huge proponent of saying that that's a part of the run game. You know why? Because there's the run game and then there's the pass game. But listen to Nick Sirianni here. He gets asked the question by Dave Zangaro of NBC Sports Philadelphia about the Eagles' run game. And as to this point, there are 16 teams, so 15 teams that have they're tied with one other, but there are 15 teams that have a better yards per carry average than the Eagles at 4. The Eagles are at 4. Literally middle of the road in the NFL. And Nick Sirianni was asked about the way the run game has been used, and here's how Nick went into it.
I just think that the run game is executing differently than what you've seen. Again, when you just look at a stat book, you're not going to get that information exactly the way it is, right? So, I mean, we run a jet sweep to DeAndre that goes for 22 yards, but that counted as a pass. That's a run, right? That's a run. It's just the way we gave him the football. Some teams are under center and turn around and hand it to the guy. Some teams that are gun teams catch it and pitch it forward. For the teams that catch it and pitch it forward, they get pass yards. For the teams that turn around and hand it, they get run yards. It's just a style of what you are in your offense. As far as if you're a gun team or an under team, then you look at other plays. The explosive play to Dallas Goedert, right? Well, it counts as a pass. Well, I got it, but it's a RPO. It's an RPR, and when you do that, you're reading an end, and then some teams read it, and I don't want to get in too much into the scheme of it, but some teams read it and they play option football, and some teams read it and they play pass forward football. Those are runs. So I don't agree that with your. I know you're just asking the question. I don't agree with it, because there's more to the run game, like those numbers, than just what the stats say. And so that's how I'm kind of answering that. You guys can take that. I think I've done a good job explaining that, and I don't want to get too far into that, the scheme things, but yeah, that's how we see it.
So I just want to clarify, Nick. So you're okay with the way that the run game's going right now? Okay.
For the people on the podcast, when Dave's going to go ask a follow-up question about whether or not Nick Sirianni was happy with the way the run game was going, he smirked and pointed at the camera like, "You got it, yeah, you got it, sir." That's the way Nick Sirianni did that. Okay. Now, I'm pointing out the yards per carry. Okay, so that is a stat. That's a number. So let me just acknowledge that. But in the overall grand scheme of things, and I hate the word eye test because it's just eventually it's my guts telling me when I watch it, it's not right. And yes, what my guts tell me when I watch it, it's not right. You have a wildly talented running back in DeAndre Swift. You have one of the best offensive lines in football. Top 3 at worst. The Lions are kind of running away with it, no pun intended, with the best offensive line, with what they're able to do with their run backs and all that stuff and how they just run it down people's throats. But the Eagles, with their run game, should be far superior than many other football teams because of their offensive line. And that is just not the case right now. And no, it's not just because of 1 yard run after 1 yard run after 1 yard run with the tush push. It's because they don't use it enough. They don't give their running backs enough opportunities to run with the football and break a play for those 22 yards. Now, the one point that I will point out here that I'll acknowledge and highlight from Nick Sirianni is that shovel pass. That jet sweep that he called it, it was a shovel pass. That's a shovel pass. The jet sweep is what he called it, but it's the shovel pass. I will say, yes, that is more of a run. Because you know what? A running back is getting the ball behind the line of scrimmage in very close proximity to the quarterback. So, sure, I'll say that you could chalk that one up as more of a running play than it is a pass play, even though, yes, technically it's a pass. But the question from Dave there was not about numbers. It wasn't about looking at a box score. It's what you're doing schematically. And I find it to be, and I think Nick Sirianni's great, and I love the guy and all that. And the brief interaction I've had with him, he's been as pleasant could be. I hate the answer. I hate the answer of, looking at the box score, it's different. We're not paying attention to the box score. This is a schematic question. You're okay with the way the run game's going? Oh, yeah, I'm okay with it. There are sometimes, and I say this all the time, numbers never lie, but they sure as hell can deceive. 4.0 yards per carry doesn't really deceive. That tells you exactly where you're at. And that ain't great considering the tools you have at your disposal. Now, sure, you can say you get Cam Jurgens out. Now Dallas Goedert out. Tyler Steen was making his first start. Whatever. You could go to all that, but you're still ranked one of the best offensive lines in football. How can you not run better behind that? It makes no sense to me. And I'm talking about running backs. I'm not talking about Jalen Hurts running the ball 5 to 10 times. Whether it's a design quarterback draw, whether it's a scramble, whatever the case may be. I'm talking about giving the ball to the running backs. Not good enough. And when you look at those numbers, I don't care what they dictate. I care what the play is. So the minute you start going to the RPO or the RPR, run, pass, run, interesting. Never heard of that before, but all right. That is, as Sirianni just said, that is just mind-numbing to me because that is where these plays are hiding. They're hiding the idea that you're calling it an RPO and you're not going to the option of running the football. You're instead passing it. It's very simple. You want to run a run play? You call a run play. I would love to see, and I think it was Seth Joyner bringing this up, a little bit more under center. Having Jalen Hurts under center a little bit more often to where you're actually just trusting the running back. You're taking the ball from under center, turning around and handing it to your running back. And you know what they do with it? It's really great. They run with it. They run towards the best offensive line in football. The top 3 best offensive line in football with how you're ranking them. I think good things are going to come from that, especially after the bye week. If Jalen Hurts is still a lot less than 100% after this bye week with his knee injury, can you just rely on the run just a little bit more? That way you at least guarantee yourself your quarterback's not going to get hit. Your quarterback's not going to have to juke. Your quarterback's not going to have to rely on his, what do they call it, the uniqueness of his game when it comes to his agility and his mobility. Hand the ball to a running back. Let them do all the work. I know when you look at a box score, it doesn't really look like it. No, I'm not looking at the box score. I'm looking at Rashad Penny running the ball, having success on one run, still getting you 2 yards on another, and then you never see him again. That's what I'm talking about. And again, this isn't about the Eagles being 8-1. I love it. I'm going to start it off again. I love the Eagles being 8-1, love this team and all that stuff. But when you measure them against the idea of them being a Super Bowl contender, and there's really no better example than the second half of last year's Super Bowl. Because what were we talking about all throughout the year with Jonathan Gannon? Lack of pressure, lack of adjustments. Neither of those things were coming in the Super Bowl. You couldn't get the outside rush. Hassan Reddick couldn't get that angle on that slippery field or whatever reason. Couldn't get that angle. Where was the blitz up the middle? Where we're sending guys up the middle. Oh, you're going to take a guy out of coverage for Patrick Mahomes? Yes, I am. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go a little bit more press coverage on the inside. I'm going to give him less time in the pocket, and I'm going to rush him. I'll pick you apart. Okay, that's fine. I'd like to see at least try it and see if you can get home in that way. Pacheco's running the ball all over you. He's catching balls on you. You're not making any time. Okay, where's the adjustment there? It's not about the 8-1 record. It's about whether or not the team can win a Super Bowl. And they have flaws. Who was it? I saw somebody ask the question. Dave Uram asked the question on social media about from KYW about whether or not it was a great, how you term the win against the Cowboys. Lucky win, great win, good win. Some people look at it and be like, well, they all end in win, so I'm pretty happy with it. There's a lot of instances where you could go to luck. Sure. The Cowboys don't take advantage of big opportunities. That's lucky. But I also don't know if the Cowboys would have punched the ball in with, 7 minutes left at the 1-yard line, that the Eagles would have taken the ball and marched downfield and scored again. Now, conventional wisdom would say they had 3 straight 3-and-outs. So that wasn't exactly lending itself to the idea that the Eagles' offense was necessarily hot against the Cowboys. But I think this Eagles team is good enough to run the football with this offensive line time and time again and have success with it. They're never going to be a run-first team. I'm not looking for that. I am looking for a better balance, and I am looking for more success. And you're only going to get more success if you stick with it. And I hate the term abandoning the run, but when you do go back to Nick Sirianni, and I think it was the second game he went up against the Cowboys in Dallas. And I remember running backs ran the football twice in the first half. That wasn't even – I made the statement at the time. I'll say it again. That's not even abandoning the run. That is forgetting it exists. Like, even Randy Reed was watching that being like, I think you should run the ball more. Like, this is low even for my standard. Like, that's what it looked like. And I do have maybe a little bit of a fear because we've seen coordinators leave in the past, and that voice is greatly missed. Whether it was Brad Childress being the run angel on the shoulder of Andy Reid, whether it was John DeFilippo being the tough, or Frank Reich being the tough voice in the ear of Carson Wentz. Those guys leave, all of a sudden people run amok. Maybe Shane Steichen is that guy. It's ingrained in me because of past experiences. Maybe Shane Steichen was the guy to make sure that you were using your running backs more. Maybe. It's an adjustment I'd like to see in the second half of the season from the Philadelphia Eagles. I want to see the running backs utilized more. But I will say this, that jet sweep, as he termed it, the shovel pass is what it was. I wouldn't mind seeing more of that. So, Nick, other than the 22-yard pickup on that, what else was an extension of the run? Dallas Goedert? Nope. Absolutely not. Dallas Goedert screen? Nope. Not an extension of the run. Not an extension of the run. We're not looking for extensions of the run. We're looking for runs. Hope the Eagles do it. Hope the Eagles do it in the second half. So that's one of the things I took away from Nick Sirianni yesterday. He also talked about Jalen Hurts and his accuracy and how 3 straight games, it's 73% or higher, and no quarterback has ever done that in franchise history. So that's pretty damn good. So Nick, of course, made the as you would expect, the praise, made a lot of praise, offered a lot of praise, threw a lot of praise on Jalen Hurts' offseason workout, his overall work ethic, and his attention to detail. Did talk about how much they're going to miss Dallas Goedert. They got confidence in the guys that they have. And also, they have confidence in the guys they have at the nickel corners position. So there you go. Good times. So that's where the Eagles are at, heading into the bye week. We'll get more into it tomorrow. So I look forward to doing that. I want to give you this on the Sixers real quick. So last night, Joel Embiid dropped 48 points. He did it in just about every way possible. It was fantastic. Speaking about appreciation, I really didn't think a trade of James Harden would make me this much more optimistic about the rest of the year. And I don't ever want to say optimistic because I got to see the Sixers beat the Bucks. I got to see the Sixers beat the Celtics tomorrow night. I got to see all that stuff. But just knowing that those 2 first-round picks are in your back pocket now, even though they're far down the line, makes me feel a lot better about how this season could go. Because you don't have to make a pick in 2026 in the first round. You don't have to make a pick in 2028 in the first round. You can trade those picks now and get something in return to help you win a championship in the next couple of years. Maybe even this year. I just tend to not really like the remake of a team at a deadline with a big acquisition and then, that team's going to be great. Because the excuse every year, whether it was the Jimmy Butler 76ers and Tobias Harris 76ers or the James Harden 76ers, we didn't have enough time. We didn't have enough time to get all these guys together and really get on the same page and build that chemistry. Okay. All right. So we got to wait, continue to wait. I'm tired of waiting. But if you show me that there's somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel, then I can be a little bit more optimistic and enjoy the regular season more so. I will still say this. The one outlook for me is the same. 82 games of the regular season are 82 games of a preseason to me. If you're a Sixers fan, I don't really see how you can look at this any other way. It's the preseason. It doesn't even matter. Just get to the postseason and get out of that second round, make it to an NBA final, win an NBA. It's not even about just making it out of the second round. It doesn't really even start. The real edge of your seat stuff doesn't even start until the playoffs begin. The in-season tournament is the dumbest thing. I know other sports do it. This is such a desperate attempt by the NBA to be interesting before the time that they're actually interesting. And if the Sixers win, is there a parade held? How does that work? Is it just a parade like around the Wells Fargo Center? Or better yet, is it a parade around Camden? Do they go to the Tweeter Center? That's a really old reference. Susquehanna Bank Center, BB&T Pavilion, the whatever it is now Pavilion. Do they go there and have a party? Because I don't think it's a parade around Philly. What do? I nominate, if the Sixers win the in-season tournament, a parade around Camden. That's what I nominate. So I look forward to seeing that happen. But in all honesty, when I watch this team, I do not think the season actually starts until the playoffs. But during the season, watching Tyrese Maxey, watching Joel Embiid drop 48 last night, If you're a basketball fan, you can enjoy the hell out of it. The 82 games are there for entertainment. They're there for our entertainment. And I'm going to be entertained because I'm a Sixers fan. I love Joel Embiid. Love Tyrese Maxey. Going to love watching him grow. Going to love watching him become an all-star this year. I did not think the trade of James Harden would make me feel this much better about the 82 games. The fact that I am enjoying them so much more. The fact that I am looking forward to game nights. I'm looking forward to the Sixers take on the Celtics. Hell, I look forward to the Sixers taking on the Wizards last night. Just because I wanted to watch these guys continue to grow. But it is. For me, it's all just a warm-up lap. It's all the preseason until the playoffs begin. Does it count? Yes. Does it count for seeding? Yes. Does the seeding matter? No, not to me. We've seen the Sixers be the number one seed and still get bounced out of the second round of the playoffs. So that to me, whatever. But I did not think trading James Harden would make me enjoy Joel Embiid this much more. I did not think it would make me enjoy the first year of Nick Nurse this much more. I didn't think it would make me enjoy Tyrese Maxey growing this much. I didn't think it would allow me to enjoy Kelly Oubre coming off the bench or now starting for the Sixers. I didn't think so. Nicholas Batum dropping threes left and right. The second and third quarter or the end of the first quarter, start of the second quarter last night. Beautiful. Keep it coming, Nicholas Batum. Welcome to the club, pal. So it's been great. Now waiting with great anticipation for this Sixers team to get underway tomorrow night against the Boston Celtics. So a lot of appreciation right there for the Sixers. Let me first tell you about our friends at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag has all you have to offer when it comes to betting on all the big games. When it comes to the Sixers, when it comes to the Eagles, when it comes to the NFL, the NBA, MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy. You see it in the crawl right there for up to $100 redeemable deposit bonus. If you walk past $100 on the street, you're going to pick it up? Of course you are. You might inspect it first. Looks good. It's real. It's not in a flaming bag of dog poop. No, wait, hold on. What was it? Mighty Ducks. It was a $20 bill? Was it a $20 bill in a purse? And in the purse was dog poo? This guy deserves what he gets. Anyway, did not think I'd be talking about Mighty Ducks this morning, but yet here I am. So go to MyBookie. Use promo code Farzy at MyBookie.ag. Let's get into the chat check and see how you guys have got a hard out today because at 8 o'clock, Birds 365. I'm actually on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. We're actually going to be a solid lead-in to Birds 365 with Jody Mack and Johnny Mack. I'm going to start it on the Farzy Show page. Good morning. Sean Kilrain, good morning. April, good morning. Don't forget to vote. T-Bro, so what's the solution to fix the ice maker? This guy, I got to say, I really respect guys like this. My dad's like this. I like to think I got a little bit of it, but he's looking at a project, and he's not going to quit till the project's done. And he looks at me, and he goes, do you have any, and I knew exactly what I was like, drywall anchors? He's like, yeah. He's like, you got the small ones? And I go, I think I do. So basically what happened was the previous owners of the house, they had some guy come out to repair their ice maker. They got a cheaper model and a nice refrigerator, which is not good. And they stripped the screws in the ice maker itself. So the guy drills through them, pulls them out, puts in the small little drywall anchor, sticks in there perfectly, screws in there, fits nice. He's able to level the ice maker. So now it looks like we're in business. You need ice? You come to me. How about Embiid scoring 29? The third quarter was incredible. Perfect 10 for 10 from the field. Absolutely. Third quarter, he was a monster. April for Bryce Harper. It would be hard for Bryce to hop on a plane if there was this. It's not like it would be hard for Bryce to hop on a plane if there was a storm coming. Laugh out loud. He's living the bi-coastal life. I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad either, April. I ain't mad either. I'm just speculating as to why he could still be around. Sean Kilrain, I think the Boston game is going to show us what the Sixers are all about. You agree, Farzy? I concur. Dylan Johnson of the Washington Huskies rushed for 256 yards, 4 touchdowns versus USC. 6 foot. Fits the so. Already looking at the draft, Sean Kilrain. Good for you. Hey, I hate when Sean Desai uses prevent defense. It gives me Jonathan Gannon vibes. I mean, everyone. I feel like everyone uses the prevent defense a lot. Jim Schwartz used it a hell of a lot. The sticks. Desai, I definitely noticed in it, playing 7 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, off the receiver, definitely bothers me. But I got a lot more confidence in April. I just saw you, not tweeter. I got a lot more confidence in Sean Desai making second half adjustments. What a great job Nick Nurse is doing with the Sixers so far. I'll say this. I love Jaden Springer getting involved. I love how DeAnthony Melton's involved. Love Paul Reed's course of action. I love that basically Joel Embiid plays the first quarter and then rests the first 6 minutes of the second quarter and then it's back for the third. Like, it's been a minute since I've been able to say I love this Sixers coach rotations. Now, some of that credit, believe it or not, does go to Daryl Morey for being able to make sure all are on the right page and make sure he has guys to go to off the bench. April, not Tweeter. Hey, man, in high school, it was like, you going to see Dave Matthews at Tweeter Center? Oh, you're going to Camden? Yeah, Tweeter Center, yeah. Sean Kilmer, we're going to Frankfurt and Cottman. We're not going to Frankfurt and Cottman for that. We save that for actual championships. That's what I'll say about that. What do we have here? Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. What else do I have? As I said, the 76ers are back at it against the Celtics. When it comes to appreciation, here's what I wanted to tell you. I appreciate the Eagles being 8-1. I appreciate Joel Embiid, a 48-point night. I enjoy Tyrese Maxey's maturation. I enjoy rivalry weeks. Cowboys this past Sunday, Celtics tomorrow night. This is what it's all about. This is, other than postseason, this is during the regular season what it is all about. It's beating your rivals. It's measuring stick games. It's so that you can go back at the end of the year and say, look what we were able to do in this game against this team that we're about to face in the postseason. That's what it's all about. So a lot of appreciation to be shared and going around, as I've been saying, really over the last week. And the fact that the Eagles beat the Cowboys, that allows you to enjoy these other games even more. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My apologies for the abridged show today and the late start to the show. I felt it was a good thing, though. I was able to tell you guys ahead of time. When I got note, I made sure I passed note along to you fine people. Jim Hyder produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Coming up on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, Jody Mack and Johnny Mack bring you Birds 365. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Jim Hyder produced the show, did a wonderful job. My name is Mark Farzetta. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow for another edition of the Farzy Show. See you then. Bye.